let me get the email. I always agree with what I say. We got to go online. So
well, let's hear his mind real quick. Let's hear his mind, because I love you to death, Chief, and we just met, but you know how to rile them up. Because everybody was throwing in flags on the play. But go ahead, go ahead, Rio.
Yeah. First of all, I think this meeting opportunity to say something. What I wanted to say was, I agree with everybody, because I know how to look at things. You have to understand people feel the type of way because of what they've been through, their experience.
Exactly.
And one situation, there's a lot of things that those people go through that other people don't go through. So we got to have that understanding. The only way that we can be great leaders to have. I always say to be a community. You have to be able to be a community to be a great leader because you have to be identified with all different kind of people and all different types of stuff.
Exactly.
So a lot of people have to understand that, of course, the white man does not want to live life on birth. If you want some of these movies and some of these pictures of what has happened in the past, why would you want to let this switch turn around? Why would you want to move to the other way? Why would you want to be the other end of dog fights and the other end of torches and the other end of hanging and all that? It looks crazy, it looks fucked up, right? So one of the things that we got to understand when it comes to people, especially our people, is that, it's different levels. They don't make them bad people because we don't have to take a call from Uncle Tom and this whatever. They just got to get some view to it. It's like I view the rap and the truth. But the six man rap, for example, Jesus Mitch, right? But that's how we look at it. Like, that's how people that I did up there with us look at it, right? We changed things. That's why he still has the number one album because that's what middle class, black kids, upper class black kids, they don't see it as glitch and they look at it as you told the truth. That's just how you look at it, and you can't understand that. You can't never be a leader. They chase after me. They get into a girlfriend and they say they were going to kill his mama. We do the right thing. That's what about middle class, black people or people who think like that. That's how they feel about it. And we have to understand that we can be able to identify with them to get them to play their role in what we need to do to fight against the fight that we have to fight against. And that's what I think that it has to be. We have to learn how to identify with everybody. We can't expect people who stay in suburban America and who fathers are black doctors and lawyers and politicians and all these different types of people. So that we don't identify with the urban areas and all that. So things like we think we have to allow them to think like they think, but let them think in a way that can help us. That we can use it to help us the way we think.
I agree with you. And one of the things I've been trying to do for the ever since, I want to say probably since late October, in the criminal justice realm is to think how each person in that courtroom thinks, starting from the judge to the jury, the prosecution, and the defendant. And I say that saying, in order to win on either side of that, you got to get into the other person's mind and figure out how am I, like if you're the person on trial, how am I going to get this prosecutor to not see I'm guilty, whether I'm guilty or innocent? How am I going to get the jury to feel my pain? How am I going to get the judge not to write down a sentence? So I've had to actually take the time to learn the role of each person and why they're doing it. And it's really a game. It's whoever plays the best game in that courtroom wins. That's just the best answer I could come up with. You touched on something, getting to know how each person thinks. That touches on the sentence a lot of time, what the judge puts out. Because if they're already seeing black people as a monster or as animals, and then here you go, you got a black man coming to his courtroom that to us, whatever he did may not be that big of a deal, but to them, it's a big deal. And I had somebody call me the other day and they said, but I was high on perks that day. And I said, well, guess what? I said, if you were white, it would be, oh my God, he has a drug problem. But because you're black, you just made the monster even worse by giving them Percocets. So you don't want to put that in. If they didn't see that in the investigation, you don't want to open your mouth and say that because you just made it worse for yourself if you do.
I think now that we kind of brought back up the initial question, we were on some other stuff, but I did want to, I guess, address that since that was kind of the focal thing, and that was why are we treated the same? You know what I'm saying? As blacks and as black culture, why are we treated different than, you know what I'm saying, whites? And honestly, man, it's crazy because as somebody who gives all credit to everything that I got as far as when it comes to wisdom, straight to biblical truth, as far as I understand it, lived it, and it's been given to me. So it's not something I feel like I can stand on like I'm better than anybody. It's immensely humbling. But this comes from freaking X-Men. You know what I'm saying? People feel what they don't understand. My bad. But people feel what they don't understand. And they don't understand us. And that's a part of the program that I guess the media and those that power who disseminate knowledge, you know what I'm saying? They want to make sure that certain people don't understand other people. We broke it down between black and white so many times. I keep hearing about, I'm getting this little echo. I hope everybody able to hear me okay. But we're breaking it down between black and white. And really the breakdown is between rich and poor. You know what I'm saying? What they did to the hillbillies, if you ever get a chance, this movie on Netflix called A Hillbilly Elegy or something like that, with Glenn Close or something. And I doubt that a lot of people will identify with these white people who are working in like coal mines or some junk like that. I think in Wyoming or something. But somebody out of that culture made it into like some high level government, you know what I'm saying, law job or some junk like that, some kind of representative or something. And he was just telling his story about how he got from there to there and how what he had being broke and stuff like that, the idea that somebody would come into his neighborhood and tell him, because you're poor, you can't do this, you can't do that, you need me. And he's like, well, I had it. And I made it out. And he's just telling his story. And because he's telling that story and it goes against a certain narrative, they don't want y'all to hear it. Because that says if he came from nothing and became something, then you who come from nothing can become something. And they don't want you to think that, because they want you to go who's gonna come in and give you everything, because this ain't a freedom destination, it's a freedom bus. You just sit down and ride, and we're gonna take you where you need to go instead of you getting your own shit. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's I mean, because
no, this satellite radio. So
that's what's up. But yeah, because straight up, man, the ideas that we have and we commonly believe what right is and what wrong is, man, it's twisted, bro. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing this since the days of Christ, bro. They came in talking about why your disciples don't wash their hands before they eat. And you're like, dude, why are you worried about what my disciples do? That ain't even in the written law. Ain't no 10 commandment about washing your hands before you eat. You know what I'm saying? You're like, you need to worry about what's coming out of your heart. You know what I'm saying? The fact that y'all will create laws to go against the laws of God. That these clear-cut 10 laws say something about honor your mother and your father. You would create some kind of law, an oral law that can't nobody find. Only you know, an oral Torah or something, where now you have to wash your hands, and if you see somebody don't wash their hands, you get to act like you better than them because they didn't wash their hands before they eat, which is tribute. While you sit here and you won't even take care of your parents because you say you get to claim some job. I forgot what the word was exactly, but basically you get to claim that you don't give all your money to God and donate to God, so you don't have to take care of your parents while they're here. So your parents are sitting here suffering, they can't work no more because they owe and they took care of your butt, but you see they pious and godly to wipe their butt and take care of them on their way out. What kind of karma is that? What kind of sense does that make? It's not right. We commonly take things from these lawmakers and people who say that they know more what right and wrong is. People in the pulpit, you know what I'm saying, who will take your money and tell you something, anything, as long as you're coming back next year. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's a lot of that deception going on from a lot of places where we need to really question. And again, that truth is power, knowledge is power. And the more we have that, I think I can appreciate UPS and something that they gave me as far as they call it DOK, and it's a depth of knowledge. There's power to that, bro. It's not that people don't have truth, they just don't have a certain amount of truth. There's something beyond this. You know what I'm saying? That we don't ask all the time because we get satisfied with the amount of knowledge that we have. We get content. I got enough to do what I want to do. But if it ain't about you, then you might need to go further. And if it is about you, you might be on the wrong track.
Trotty, you've been kind of silent for most of the things. Is there anything you want to add to
It's
it?
fun. I just suck everything up. Really, my point of view is, to be 30 in the scene, and see the stuff that I've seen. It really just from my eyes, really started from you. You know what I mean? It really started from you. Everybody want to be a big person. You know what I mean? So being in game wise, it's just like, as of right now, how we live through things and how we see things, I don't really feel like big homies have no control over their little homies as of right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's causing, black on black crime in these different neighborhoods and stuff like this, because you got these rappers who saying, they're doing one thing, and then they don't have, you know what I mean? They don't have the voice to say, hey man, this is what I'm really not doing. You know what I mean? And you're not taking these young men, you know, out of the neighborhoods, you know, to actually start or to actually see you do something. You know what I mean? They actually start something. Only thing they know is, I want to just, you know, gang bang. That's all I want to know. So
They don't even real OGs.
no, they don't.
That's the crazy part. Like I'm kicking it with an OG on a close level right now. So real, I ain't even gonna give him a name nothing like that because he wouldn't even want me to because he that real.
Yeah.
Fact. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is, he done did a lot of stuff that a lot of people would sit here and clap for. Like he done killed somebody, yay. He done robbed, yay. You know what I'm saying? They go for other niggas. But I get to see the parts of this dude that make him so fire to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the type of dude who I said who put that idea in my head that those who won't take care of their parents in their later years, trash.
Yeah.
It's like somebody brought you into this world and they raised you up and they owe you shit. You ain't like other animals that get to pop out and go take care of yourself. If they didn't feed you, if they ain't wipe your butt, they ain't go work for you, you're not here. So anybody who act like, no, I don't owe nobody nothing, they got you. They tricked you. You off.
And see the young man that we was talking to earlier, YG Red Room.
And we can't hear what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. Oh,
No.
can you hear me? I got to speak a little louder. Okay.
Yeah.
But the young man who I was talking to earlier, OYG Red Room, he's actually from California, from Inglewood. You know what I mean?
It's hard to be good if he calls in with us and we'll all be in the hotel together.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean,
everybody be able to hear.
if we can get
Now I heard him that time when he said that's fire. I don't know what you did different, but keep it there.
Oh, okay. But basically he was the one who basically, you know, as I was growing up, I started banging when I was 17 years old. So actually a day before I actually got arrested and got locked up, he actually told me to slow down. You know what I mean? We had a whole 2-hour conversation about it, you know what I mean? And the next day, you know, I'm going to jail for aggravated assault. You know what I mean? So getting out and really just listening to his way of banging, you know, versus the way of how everybody portray it, it's just different to me. You know what I mean? To really stay out here in Atlanta and then go out to California for a year, 2 years, you know what I mean, just to see how everything is, it's a big difference. You know what I mean? You know, the OGs out there in Cali, you know, as everybody they think it's okay, it's just a beef thing. No, it's not. These OGs can pull up anywhere, anytime, any hood, any place, you know what I mean, and nothing will happen at all. You know what I mean? But out here in Atlanta, it's a different. It goes as, oh yeah, well this is my neighborhood. You can't come here, you know, because your big homie did something to my big homie, or your friend just did something to my friend. So, no, this how I gotta go. And instead of somebody big stepping in to say, you know, this is not how it's supposed to go. You know, it's just free.
That's they're disconnected, bro.
Yeah, they don't. You know what I mean?
It's based on what they think is happening in Cali. Like
Exactly.
you said, because when I just this for an example, I met a Crip through a GD. They did Fed time together. So when I reached out, you were one of the first ones I reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
When nobody in Atlanta was responding to what I wanted to do, I started reaching outside. I went into the prison and other people I've networked with in this year of working with FAIR. And I called a GD and he goes, okay, let me hook you up with a Crip dude out in Cali that I did Fed time with. And then that Crip dude introduced me to a blood dude that he did Fed time with. And then, you know, a vice lord introduced me to a peace zone. And it happened like that. So I get what you're saying. It goes back to when the guy from Rolling 60s told me the beef really be individual beefs, but they're trying to make it the organization, and it's bringing it.
And that's what starts the eye. You know what I mean? That's the eye that the police get. You know, that brings it to the attention. Okay, well, you got these certain amount of people killing these certain amount of people, but what's the reason?
Right.
Okay, so who is the big person calling these big shots? You know what I mean? Right. And this person might not even be calling no shots at all. You know what I mean? He just, you know, he just been in the hood for so long. Everybody look up to him to be his OG, but at the end of the day, he don't have no say so of what's going on.
That's what makes it so unfair. Because I mean, that's the other end. It's like they control both sides. You separate us by all of the epidemics over the couple decades. You know what I'm saying? You had the divorce rate go up during free love. You had Reagan come in with all the crack and taking all the dads out the home and the war going on in Vietnam and stuff like that. So kids don't know their parents and stuff like that. Then you get the gender roles and displacement and stuff like that come into play where men don't know how to be men because they don't have men in front of them to tell them or show them what a man is. And then you're looking at TV to get something, and then all you get from TV is half a man because he's a man that's ultra macho. You know what I'm saying? Or he's not a man at all. He's androgynous.
Exactly. That's
you know what I'm saying?
another topic.
So it's like the idea of
And
being
these are babies. These are the youth in the room having this conversation
Exactly.
right
the
now.
idea is like that I live with, like, I got a girl and I can't wait to be a family with this girl and to have my daughter and her daughter loving on each other the way that they do it naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to keep the truth on the table because you get distracted by stuff that don't even matter, but it'll lead you down a path. You know what I'm saying? Because there's only, again, one way to stand, a million ways to fall. If they can get anything to get you off the path you own to be the best you can be, they got you.
Yeah.
Soon as they catch you in the comparison trap, you on IG, you want to be somebody else, and you're looking at TV, you want to be him, or you want to be like Mike, you want to do something else. You can't be you. Something's wrong with being you. They got you.
And that's
the disease.
what attracted me to you, Justin. I mean, we've bumped heads before, you know, in our work relationship, but when we actually took the time to get to know each other, you stand firm on who you are and what you believe in, no matter what anyone else says about it. You don't fold, and that's what I love about you, and that's why I invited you in on this. You know, you're a working man with great values, and you're connected with the world around you and the history of the world around you, and that's what I loved about you.
Yeah, I appreciate
to
it.
the brothers on that's on the call, I hope I still have y'all. Would any of you all agree, based on what Trotty was saying? It seemed like as I was meeting you all, almost all of y'all, your life changed when you got in trouble.
Big time.
Yeah.
I like the way my dad kind of gave it to me, man. He told me how to teach in seminars. Like the Bible stories, a lot of them have this common thread, 3 steps: a God-given dream, man's attempt to fulfill it on his own, and then divine intervention where supernatural fulfillment comes along. So when you had Moses, he tried to do what God told him to do for his people by killing a Hebrew slave. Ain't wrong. He had to run out into the wilderness. Now you out here, you all alone. And then he has God intervene with him through the burning bush or whatever like that. You go back and try God's way, 10 plagues and all this other good stuff. It happened.
Right.
David doing his own thing or whatnot. He might not be the best example. But let's go Paul. Paul, New Testament, the one who ended up writing all the end of the New Testament, more books in the New Testament or whatever. He was out there killing Christians and locking them up in the name of God, as he knew him, because that's all he knew. That's the amount of truth he had. That was his depth of knowledge. The Jewish text and Moses' law, that's all he got. So I'm gonna go lock you up and I'm doing it for God. He was crunk about it. You know what I'm saying? But when he found out that there was something better than what he had, that there was more knowledge beyond what he understood, to him understanding that, nah, we ain't gotta be so archaic no more, because ain't nobody living up to these laws. We all fall short. And if I can't judge you because I fall short, then dang, what happened to the standard of right and wrong? Like, it's all gone. Like, we all fall short. So dang, we all lose. It's like, nah, thank God for Christ, who, when you take the guilt and the pain that you have that you can't deal with to the cross, you find a process to turn that into power. So now instead of me looking at my losses and being ashamed of them, I can claim every L that I took and say, I learned a lesson that made me who I am today.
Got you. Now we're getting down to the last 30 minutes, so I do want to kind of wrap this up and get back to why we came together. So we were all talking unity, and I'm going to start with Yo. Are you still on the line, Johan?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Yo, what do you believe can happen as far as with growth and development and anything? Just tap in on how do you feel we need to come together, the Black community, growth and development, all organizations. You got the floor, so however you want to put it.
I think that, there's so many topics, man. We've been here in this country so long, even before any of these organizations existed, and even since the birth of these organizations, it's been a long time. There's so many layers. We done talked about so much today, and it ain't even about getting off subject, because there's so many subjects. We done talked about the use of the word nigga and who you accept it from and who you don't. We done talked about domestic gotta ride on that.
Right.
Hey, if I can interject.
You are never gonna have a society or a nation of no people who agree on everything. But if we agree on some key values, if we agree on the key points, and we gotta meet in the middle, man. On real, it don't matter if you don't like Barack. And I want to defend them a little bit. And by the way, for the record, when I defend them, that's just me realizing that we need the bitch ass niggas too. We need soft ass moving ass niggas too.
Exactly.
We do.
Thank you.
We just do. And at the end of the day, we take steps. If they don't involve politics,
Everybody got a role to play.
People to rise up and take this thing by force. So then your next step gotta involve politics. Otherwise, you're on a suicide mission. We're only 13% of the population, and it's just a sad, tragic fact. So my thing is, let's meet in the middle. Let's find out. Okay, you know what? He feel like this. He feel like this. That's cool. We can disagree on that. Ain't no time. We don't need to waste no time talking about what we disagree about. Let's talk about what we agree about. And let's come up with next steps. And at that point, let's talk about what can any individual on here do to start thinking about next steps. And next steps don't mean something broad and big. Next steps is something that's doable.
Exactly.
We actually accomplish. We can talk about how we need to come together as a nation. Okay, how? What's the first step? With a real next step. That you can go get another person and get on that and then start it rolling. Not something broad and conceptual where it's a dream.
Okay.
Because at that point you just dreaming and you just talking. It gets real. We go through tomorrow. We can start finding candidates. We can start lobbying the candidates in effect. We can start hitting these blocks. We can start yelling at these shows. Let's think of action steps along the lines that we all know we agree on. The rest of all of this.
I mean, we got ideas, but honestly, bro, like,
It's just like,
Hold on 1 second. Hold on, Kim, 1 second. Go ahead.
it's just like with KK. When you start taking people and you start making them, bigger than them, in the neighborhoods, basically, like I'm saying, if KK was still out right now, you know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, it would be no problems between, each side. You feel me? Because at the same time, during that time, he had so much power, you feel me, amongst, the neighborhoods to where everybody was really listening to him and actually focusing on like what this man trying to do. You know what I mean? Like everybody knew what BCF stood for, you know what I mean? But then once we really understood exactly like the BCF, better communities and families, by that time, it was just seeming like the police was just like, okay, he's making too big of an impression. You know what I mean? Like now he's bringing everybody together. So now we have to find every little thing that we can do to indict him on something. We got to get him on something. You know what I mean?
this is what I want to do. I can't.
Hold on, everybody,
No
hold on.
disrespect at
1
all.
second, 1 second. Because they can't, for some reason, they can't hear y'all. And I hear y'all clearly.
Probably because I don't know how you got it, but we can't hear it. We can't hear them at
Whose
all.
song is that?
Brother, can you hear me? Can you hear me though? Can y'all hear me straight?
We can't get it. All of you home around this hood, we can't hear nothing. That's the way it sounds, so we can't understand nothing.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
you
say
know?
that was both of us. That was one of our mics.
Hold on 1 second. He said you sound muffled.
I sound muffled.
Yeah. How about now?
Say something.
Can you hear me now?
You still we sound better, but you still sound muffled.
It's probably the way he talked.
All right, let me get a test on my mic. How's that sound?
Can you hear Justin? Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. How does that sound?
He sound the same way.
Dang.
Are y'all listening from the radio?
No, we listening straight on the call. I know I am. I'm straight on the call. I'm on the line.
Okay, I
Oh
probably.
wait, if you listening through the phone, it could be different than on the app, then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but see, they don't know how to
Is
respond.
anybody on the app? You need to send a
Yeah,
message
we
in something.
won't be able to respond. We won't be able responses, everything, because we can't hear anything.
Can you, okay,
Oh, is there any way if I got closer to her, to y'all's phones? Can y'all hear that
hold
better?
on 1 second.
It'd been better if they called on to the same call, and we can hear each other, and we can hear you.
Okay.
We can't hear them.
But we learning. I ain't gonna lie. We just take that as a learning
Yeah,
for this
this
one. You know what I'm
is,
saying?
well, it's kind of my fault because I should have probably did it the way I was gonna do it. When you told me about the conference call, there was people in the studio and people out, but when it's on the phone, when it's actually through the phone, everybody can hear. So I probably should have left well enough alone instead of trying to make it easier.
Okay.
So I apologize for that.
It's all good. We hear it. That's the fact. Like the fact that
Right.
we hear it.
But,
I ain't gonna lie. I want to come back.
Trotty was kind of, yeah, Trotty was basically responding to what Johan said, but he wanted to bring up a point about when leaders emerge amongst us that are actually trying to bring about peace and change. Like the example he uses, OGKK, that's a popular growth and development member. He's is he one of the founders of BCF?
Yeah.
Yeah, and BCF is Better Communities and Families, used from the acronym Blood, Crips, and Folks. And he said he did so much change, and while they were out, while him and Iz and Spike were out on the streets, crime went down. So they had to kind of do something to throw a wrench in that. And now that those brothers are gone, crime in Atlanta is back. And the youth that they had under control, like they successfully had the youth in all organizations, Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords, GDs, whatever, they successfully had them cleaning up neighborhoods. They had them putting their energy somewhere else. So they went to the Bluffs, which is a popular hood in Atlanta, and they changed it and brought up the property value by having the young brothers go and paint Miss Bessie's steps and fix this door and pick up trash and do all this stuff. So now these guys are gone. This type of stuff isn't happening anymore. And all of their hard work, the city of Atlanta is profiting off of it because they elevated the property value.
I want to co-sign what you're saying so bad.
Hold on, because I want to. Hold on. Yeah, so that's what he was saying. He was basing it off of what Johan said. So Kent, do you want to comment on that part now that I broke it down? And then I'll let you come back.
Yeah, I just feel like in order for us to do something, we just gotta start. Everybody's not gonna be with what we do. You know, for whatever reason, everybody ain't gonna be with it. So we just gotta establish something. We can't just stop at the end of this. We said 30 minutes. At the end of this 30 minutes, we can't just stop it here. What I mean is, we gotta set up another call. We gotta do something. We gotta, because who's to say what we can and what we can't do.
And just me piggybacking off of Johan, not to cut you off, I lost control of this whole conversation because he's right. It went in so many directions away from what I was trying to. We touched on everything I was trying to touch on, but we did go in so many different directions. And that's the proof in what's wrong when we're trying to get together to make whatever change. That type of stuff has to stop happening. We all have different minds and different ways of thinking, and we all have been affected by whoever and whatever in different ways. But in order for us to fix the change, I do agree with Johan where we got to look at, okay, we got to lay it on the line. What do we all agree on? And then what can we do at this very moment? What's easy to do? Not the big scheme of things, but what's the small thing that we can do right now to move us in the direction of the larger scheme of things?
Okay.
I know one thing that we all can agree on is we're under attack. I'm pretty sure ain't nobody on this phone gonna say we ain't under attack. You know, and that one thing right there is enough. We ain't gotta come up with nothing else. If we all can agree that we are under attack, the next thing we do is we counter the attack. We come up with a plan to counter whichever way we are being attacked. And that first thing, and that is unity. We on the phone right here. We can't go past. We can't speak past nobody else. But we on the phone right now.
Okay, you're right, family. That's what I'm talking about. So
we under attack. We under attack from different angles,
Yeah.
right? We under attack by our own. We under attack by white folks. We under attack politically. We under attack by police. We under attack by our own ignorance. So whatever way you have been most attacked, were you most passionate about defense? Because we like a small circle, and we get attacked from all angles. And everybody can't hit every angle. So which angle we gonna hit?
All right, bro, right there.
Gonna hit the political angle. Which of us gonna hit the angles on the block, on the street, with the youngsters in our organizations who ain't right? Because that's a hell of a fight.
Sure. But I hear y'all, big brothers, looking for the roots, man. I hear you looking for the roots, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these issues are branch issues, you know what I'm saying? There's stuff that happens because something's wrong at the core. And I believe if we try to get to it as close to the core as we can get to the most influential ideas, because that's what we're doing right now. We're in a war, and it's on the battlefield of ideas, you know what I'm saying? Where different ideas are being touted and promoted by different groups or organizations, and different ideas are being suppressed and killed, especially when it comes to our community. They won't let certain truths ring within our community. That's why, but to get to the point before we run out of time and I have to stay focused, fear. And I believe we can all agree that the major overarching message that's being accepted by the majority of people around the world is that fear is powerful. That they can move you by fear. That if they scare you, and that there's so many things to be afraid of, that's what they're using. That's what they basically take love out of the equation, because contrary to popular belief, courage is not the opposite of fear. You would think that naturally, like when somebody was like, all right, well, you know what I'm saying, what's the opposite of fear? Courage. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of popping your head. But honestly, if there's a burning building and there's an old lady standing outside and she run into that building, you best believe she just didn't find her nads and grow courageous to go running in there. No, she saw her grandbaby in the window and she ain't playing with nobody. You feel me? That old lady just turned into whole Xena, the warrior princess, in 2.5 seconds because of supernatural, divine, innate ability in her consciousness that says, I love that too much. I can't stand back. So if we identify that love is the overarching message that they're perpetuating and people are receiving left and right, because they're playing into the game, they're playing into the system, they're letting love push them, they're letting fear push them and motivate them and drive them and trying to get other people to be more afraid of you and things of that nature, when love is more powerful than fear. Light drives away darkness just naturally, bro. If you have real love and you can feel it and you can hear it and you can identify, you will gravitate towards it every time. That's why they gotta hide it from you.
Go ahead. Was that you, Chief?
Yes, I want to say.
Yes.
One thing I think we have to start holding our leaders accountable for what they do. You know, we got these Uncle Tom, Hooligan, Amos and Negroes that take advantage of the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we have to put race first and have to start holding leaders accountable. Some leaders are beyond criticism. Everybody gets mad. I love Barack, but you know, he's a good brother. He was nice and his wife was beautiful, but he was the white man's nigga. You know what I'm saying? Even when I criticize Mr. Farrakhan, he would get upset when I criticize Mr. Farrakhan. I was in the nation, and right here in Chicago, you know, we were given papers and bean pies and stuff like that, but and he don't speak out against the Arabs all in our community, and you know, driving around in 5 or 6 luxury cars. I'm taking a bus to the mosque. You know, he's a good brother. He speaks well, but you got to hold him accountable for that. What are the businesses that we need in our community? And we on a religious agenda. And so when he attacked the Jews, but right here I'll be with them on all the stores in our community. And brothers think, you know, we got so far, and I'm not knocking my brothers to practice this long. They go in the Arab store, give me some Cheetos, Fritos, Assalamu alaikum, Arab say, alaikum salam, nigga, and take your money. And we have nothing. So we have to start holding our leaders accountable. Leslie Jackson, he's another fool. All these Uncle Toms and Kiwi Steaks and Creflo, Techno Dollar and all these preachers on this top red trumpet.
But I hear you, brother.
We got to start holding them accountable. We got to hold them accountable.
The separation you talked about, we need it.
We got to start challenging them. You got to start challenging them, and they can't be afraid to say we can't be afraid to criticize them and ask our minister, why don't you speak out against these Arabs? Every time you're in Chicago, it's just sickening. Every store you go to, they're always going.
Man, it's rare we're gonna be able to link up on every idea though. You know what I'm saying? So like I think that somebody gonna be able to ride with us 100%.
We had a million-man march.
I think we all agree on that.
Where's the money go for the million-man march? Where's the money go for the million-man march?
We gotta hold them accountable.
We gotta hold them accountable. So it's time for a brother like you to leave your tribe and grow with it. Because the thing is, like, at this point, now we're talking about what other people are and ain't doing. Now we talking about what Barack and Jesse and Farrakhan are and aren't doing. And that's a valid fight. And if that's your fight, fight it. That's your fight. Figure out where to tell it. Y'all on top of the big folks. My man. I think, and for those of us who are in our fight, I think our time will be better used figuring out, okay, what I'm gonna do. These Arabs on our block. I won't Farrakhan to say nothing. He's not saying nothing. But guess what? I know where this Arab store is in my hood right now. So let me go on in there, stand outside that boy, and tell anybody coming in there, no, we're not gonna do this. Let me set up a store.
Nah, you don't do that. I feel you.
Put him out of business. We did it on 95th and Times Grove. I was there shopping one day in the Arab called Mother Nigga. And we came out and shut that store down and made them, respectful. But at the end of the day, we got to open up, our own store.
I feel like the way we're gonna do that is dealing with the bigger issues though. Like the opening of our stores ain't just not happening because ain't nobody trying. It's not being successful because we're not united. The thing that somebody said earlier was like, basically we came in the game crippled and we came in like weak for some reason. We at the bottom. And I see it clear why we weak. We came in divided. They divided us overseas before they brought us over here. So when you had all these other people who came in together, they rode the boats together, they left together. They came here together, they knew each other, they clicked up, they all moved over there to New York together. They all stayed in certain pockets in New York, and then when they decided to go to Hollywood, they all went together. That's why all of those media corporations click with each other. They all were 5 Jews, like Jewish families went over there and started stuff together. They were cool on the slick. They did well by themselves. But nowadays, you got people who run in those organizations who don't even adhere to the Jewish culture that they got in their books. They don't care nothing about that because all they do is a silver spoon. By the time you get to the top, you ain't give nothing but a silver spoon. You lose reality, lose touch with reality, because everybody don't live in that privileged ass world. You have to work for something in this world. And as Black people, they try to tell us that we don't know or want to work for anything in this world. And that ain't true. And we got to show them that by getting the fuck up and working.
There you go.
I don't think it's like because we come together, as I say, we come together every Sunday. Steve Steaks and Purple Capital Dollar. Got thousands of members in their church. Mr. Farrakhan draws large crowds, Million Man March. We come together. We came together for everybody voted. We did it. But the question our leaders are not race first. The crackers are race first.
Not like this. So see, the problem is how we separate. We got to separate over the ideas and the culture, not the color of our skin. See, the color of our skin is only a shell. We spirit beings. Our character will never be seen by looking at somebody's face. You know what I'm saying? I never know who you are by seeing your body.
Right.
But they came together on race first. When they go to America,
Not all of them. All the white people ain't bad. I promise you. Every white man ain't the devil. I promise you.
They take care of them.
Yeah, nepotism is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when it's abused.
All right. All right, so
I'm gonna be real short, real quick here. I know time is out of it. And me personally, I feel that we still didn't get, to the root of what we was trying to do.
exactly.
I want to ask this here because today is December 25th. Okay, now, December 29th is the anniversary of the uprising that happened in Boston in Mississippi, and I wanted to have an anniversary call on my podcast, live straight out of Boston. Now, I asked, will the sister help me host a second part of this same thing we're doing right here?
You got me. You already know you got me. We found you got me.
Now I'm asking all the rest of the revolutionary brothers that's on this line. Because what we did on this call right here, we did a little bit, we met each other, we greeted, we know who each other is now. We gotta keep that thing up and put some bodies because we began here in the Mississippi Part of Correction since just 2020 alone, it has been 100 people that have died inside these walls. You see what I'm saying? Just 2020, it has been 100 people, and it still ain't over. We still got almost another week. I ain't gonna tell you how many it might be going to. Last week, 6 people died. Just last week, 6 people died in NDOC. So this day is a very symbolic day because it was the beginning of 100 people died. So on December 29th at 7 o'clock on my podcast, I would like you all to make your presence. Once again, if you're not busy, if you have somebody that can represent for you, come speak for you, or whatever the case may be, because I would like to finish this call. It's so good, we got to know each other. So this next call Tuesday at 7, hopefully we can put a lot more out there and we can kind of bring a little bit more peace to the southern states. You know what I'm saying? The southern state of Michigan. Because this show again, this show is straight out of Parson for real. It's a comedy show. I'm being real. So it's a lot of guys on the inside that's going to be told and listening and all that. So I ask you all, we pray.
God will, my pleasure, sir.
What day is that on?
It's Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
At 7 o'clock. Am I too much for you? I'll call back,
But let me tell you, Chief, you bring that
energy
that we need. So we be calling and start the fire and everybody get the.
Yes, sir.
One more thing, because this call here, I wanna try, because today is Friday, so we got to Tuesday. I wanna try to come up with a flyer or something, because I want this to be big. I want people to hear our discussion.
Yeah.
Because even after Tuesday, we might not have that third one for everybody because we might have to sit down and orchestrate some time.
Right.
We just keep having the conversations, bro. They gonna find out about the bitch.
That's exactly what I want to know. I need y'all name, I'll contact with the sister, and the sister will, assist me or whatever I need.
Yeah. I mean, if they're all willing, I have everybody's number. I just shoot it to you and you can, does anybody have a problem with me giving? No, okay. Johan, are you willing? Can you come back on the 29th?
So Tuesday evening, I'm gonna be working.
Okay.
From 6:30 to 9:30. I'll go in, I can have them idea. I probably won't be able to contribute as much. But look, this what I ask, man. And I'm gonna leave on this note, man. Peace to all of y'all, man. I think we all trying to fight the same fight. We just trying to figure out what gun to bust first, right? This is the thing. Let's be solution oriented. Let's think about, I got one of my best friends, the therapist, man. She tells me often about the need and it resonates, man, to be solution oriented because a lot of us easy, man. We've been through so much, man. We got so many complaints, so many gripes. So it's natural. But it's time to start being solution oriented because you got people who will come up with a problem for every solution.
Exactly.
You got people who got complaints, and that's okay. So there's a million things to complain about. Pick one, and let's start talking about a solution for it. And the rest of them, it's an issue, let somebody else come up with a solution for that till you get it. Let's be solution oriented, y'all.
I agree. I agree. We're going to keep having conversations like this that are all over the place.
Yeah.
So.
Anything you like to open the room, right?
For sure.
Okay, so give me folks numbers. I mean, I don't know how it's folks off the line. We got to get together.
Okay, if
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
as long, hold on, you okay with that, Johan? Cause I don't give numbers out without. Okay. All right, so I'll give, everybody will have everybody's number after, if I forget, shoot me a message and I'll make sure everybody got
Hey.
everybody's number.
Hey, I'm 33, so I just want to say appreciate all y'all, man. The OGs, you know what I'm saying? Joy represent for the younger generation to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all having us here and being us represented and, you know what I'm saying? Just asking for it, you know what I'm saying? Because she asked me to come here, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I appreciate just pulling up, you know what I'm saying? Knowing that I was invited. This wasn't something I had to beg to be a part of, but something that y'all wanted. You
Yeah,
feel me? So I just want to say appreciate y'all for, you know what I'm saying, just having the hand to reach out.
all right. No, I appreciate everybody for being a part of this. Again, FAIR stands for Fighting Against Institutionalized Railroading. Is who was calling from Dayton is the founder of FAIR. But everything that FAIR does is trying to get to the beginning, the root of the problem, before it becomes a problem. Because once you get into that system, into the penitentiaries, I don't have to tell you, Ken, it's hard to get out. It's easy to get in there and it's hard to get out. So everything that we're doing moving forward is trying to stop it at its head, trying to keep our young brothers and sisters up out of the penitentiary walls. And if they have to go, we want to make sure they get.
Your input is invalid.
Oh, okay.
That's what I want you to believe. Don't believe that. Don't believe that's it. You on point. That's the
Everybody
devil.
hang up on me. Is that why? But we try to stop. Somebody must have left the group. Okay. Yeah, everything we're doing moving forward is trying to stop problems at the head. I get calls from all over the country from people who need help with their cases, and FAIR is short-staffed, and it's just too much for me to take all these cases with the little staff that I have. But what we're trying to do is find solutions to the problems, trying to see what we can do as a community to get these brothers and sisters out, but most importantly, to stop brothers and sisters from getting in there wrongfully or receiving a sentence that doesn't match the crime that they committed. And I thought of this podcast today because in my eyes, and I could be wrong, the people that are getting attacked first are the easy targets, and that's the street organizations. And that includes the religious ones like Nation of Islam, Hebrew Israelite, 5%ers. Anytime you go against what they want you to go for, you're a problem. And they're watching you. And when we read these cases, they don't watch you for 5 weeks. They watch you for years and years. And I always say it doesn't take a long time for a person to commit a crime if they're really out here doing what you're saying they're doing.
Yeah.
It just takes them 10 years to catch you, or it takes them 10 years for it to catch you slipping. So it's, I just want people to remember stuff like that. It's beyond time for us to come together. And, Choice is how I met a couple of y'all. He's one of my closest friends. And he always tells me, you're going to keep coming up with ideas until one of them works. And eventually one of these ideas I have is going to work. And we're going to get to the beginning of making change happen. But until then, like Ken says, we got to keep having. Huh?
I commend you. I mean, just to see a sister that, and one of the things we have to realize, the role of our black sisters is, and, it takes a woman. Because, a woman is the first teacher. And as the Raj Muhammad calls, he said, when you teach a woman, teach a nation. So I commend this powerful sister being so strong and so dedicated. That's why I wanted to come on and help us with the Lord, help me to get strong and like to help us with our needs to put the life in the movement. It's very powerful. Your passion. So you're helping people already. Just fight for them. It's a big help. So I commend you. I think you had all.
Thank you.
It's amazing, dog.
For your effort. For your effort.
Thank you.
I just want to go ahead and piggyback that and ride because I feel like, man, I just learned like this thing as far as when they try to tell us about women and men and this idea that we're at battle for power and stuff like that. In a room full of real dudes, in a room full of real men, this woman has power because we have respect for women. Not because she's stronger than us and she can beat us up or none of that stuff. Because we're real men and real men respect women.
Exactly. And on top of that, like I said, I've only been with FAIR for a year, but in this year, I've learned how important my black men are to me. And I'm tired of hearing, I put cases out and they might see a black man with a white woman, now they don't want to fight for him. No, he's just as important. The gay black man is important. The light skin, the dark skin, the dreads, the bald, all of them. Every black man is important because they come from me. not me necessarily, but Black woman as a whole. And it's our job, and I tell every Black woman to get over all that personal stuff you have against Black men. And if we want them to treat us right, we got to start by treating them right and respecting their right to choose and their right to live. And just letting them know, brother, I got you. I'm here. Even if you look at me and see Miguel Gorilla, I still got your back, and I'm gonna make sure don't nothing happen to you. And I just really came into that part of myself by working with Fair and seeing what the destruction of my own men. It just made me want to hold on to y'all and fight for y'all even harder.
Thank you.
So, you know, despite of what you see when you look at me, I got your back when I look at you.
I got you.
You too. You got T-Line. Huh?
Oh, anybody that's podcast, or listen to, don't go get your slave masters or leave a white woman alone.
I wasn't bringing it up for y'all to say that.
Hey, we appreciate
Love
you for it.
is love.
Cause they gonna come back just so they can argue with you next week.
That's supporting the grassroots.
Love is love.
No interracial dating.
Oh, no. You
I
did.
do not approve of that.
Can we talk about that next week?
I do not approve of
Y'all gotta put that on the schedule.
Oh my God.
Can you tell me what a cracker spirit look like? Can you tell me what the spirit of a cracker? I gotta be able to identify the cracker spirit when I run into it. Whatever that look like.
Oh my God, I can't breathe. I do want to hear it because I think it's the best way to end the show. Go ahead. And I'm sorry, white women, I love you too, but white men, I'm sorry, I do not approve. Don't hit my DMs.
I ain't sorry, Craig. It was from the college that I see that on this song. He said, give me a black goddess, I can't resist it. No stringy hair, blonde hair, blue eye, graphic, respectful, expression. I didn't go up backside, straight down. Like a real little 6 o'clock. Something to have the itch. You know, it's cockazoid, white cave, bitch.
Yeah, no. And about as short and sweet as I can
I
put it.
don't agree with that because I got, oh my Lord, my family about to cuss me out.
In the words of Baba Boucher, Mama, identity politics is the devil.
Yes, facts. And I don't approve it. And listen, the Bishop family got white women, Asian women, Hispanic women. My daughter is half Hispanic, half Black. So I don't agree. Family, please don't call me and say, what the hell did you just do? Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming in. You can enjoy the conversation next time.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming in. All right, everybody.
Yeah, I was like, hell no, this shit.
Well, that concludes this week's segment of Playfair Friday. And Pee Weezy over there didn't even talk. He just listened the whole time.
I was just back at cool. There was too many in there, so I'm gonna let them out of the floor.
Most definitely support the grassroots organizations.
Thank you.
That's what.
All right. Almighty Chief, that was Chief Almighty Kamara with the Almighty Vice Lord Nation.